Hi, everybody. Another episode on scuba diving. I mentioned in the previous episode when I was talking about cave diving of this place in Florida called the Devil's Den. If you look it up, you'll see what I mean. You're gonna look up for Devil's Den in Williston, Florida, or near at least Williston. And you're gonna see things like Devil's Den Cave, but it's not a cave. In my previous episode, I covered this a little bit. When I explained the difference between a cavern and a cave. This is a cavern. You can see the light at all times. There are some of the parts of the dive, depending on how you do it, around the cave, right around the den, that it has some overhead environment, but you can always see the light, right, coming from the top. So it's a cavern, just a correction from what you're gonna find on the internet. But point is, this is supposedly, arguably, the most beautiful diving spot in the world, and I tend to agree to some extent. Right, it's not like diving, a reef, seeing a coral reef in the Red Sea, when you're gonna see all the fish and the beautiful life and the colors and so if you dive there, as I did, you're gonna be lucky if you find one turtle. I think that was the only one living at the time I was diving. Maybe there are two small turtles, and a handful of blackfish, right? However, so there's not a lot of life, no coral reef, no colors once you dive. The place itself is amazing, and they put a stair. You can actually walk down to the platform where you dive. Hard to explain on a podcast. You have to really Google Devil's Den. Cave is going to show up again. Not a cave, it's a cavern. In Florida, you're gonna see the pictures. It's mind blowing. Okay, what it is actually there was a subterranean river that has collapsed, and the top part of it has collapsed. So there's a hole on the ground, and it kind of creates this light effect, right? That goes into the water, which is crystal clear, and it's always at 72 degrees Fahrenheit, about 22 degrees Celsius, always. So it's a very nice dive, very comfortable, right? It's this sort of a sinkhole again, and you can go around it. There are entrances that will go way deeper, but they're all closed. Right? I think it was, according to my guide, and again, as always, I always recommend you dive with a guide. I found a local guide, very good. There are several in the region specialized in the Devil's Den. It's a small place. I mean, it doesn't take long for you to know all the place, I guess, but I always looking for the best person to go with me for any adventure. And I found this, he was awesome. And he was telling me that at some point, the other openings more in a cave, it becomes really caves, right? They were allowed, they were allowing divers to go in. They closed them when I dived. I'm speaking in now, it's September 2022. I dived there at the beginning of the year, actually, in January, 2022. And, all the cave entrances were closed, which I think just for safety reasons was a great decision. But there's still plenty to do around it. You can go clockwise and then counterclockwise because you have different experiences as you're going around the den. It's not very wide or large, so you can do a couple dives in very quickly. One tank will do it. Again, it's a very quick podcast because I mentioned this in my previous one about cave diving. If you're not, ready, if you want to go into a cave because of the risks involved and the sort of the logistics of actually having to go outside the U.S., wherever you're living, there are only a few places that will allow you to do it. This is a great option. Again, super cool experience. Awesome pictures. Right, everybody's mesmerized when you show the place, and it's relatively easy to get to. Meaning, right, it is in the middle of Florida, towards the north, right, north of Florida. So there is some driving involved. And again, the other part that's really cool is, there's just a kind of horse farms as you're driving towards the den, right, the devil's den. And you're like, okay, where is it? Where is it? I only see horse farms here. And all of a sudden, there it is in this big hole. And you can go in and out relatively easily. They have nice facilities outside. So for you to change, park your car, everything, right? There is a whole devil den spring area there that lets you, if you're not diving, right, you can just snorkel. So choose wisely when you're going. There might be a lot of people there. There are certain fees you have to pay to enter the spring, but it can get crowded. It's just one stair, one platform. I managed to be there in a weekday. I just took the day off and got it done. So there was just a handful of people. Actually, nobody else was diving, just myself and my guide for a couple of hours. So we had the whole place to ourselves. When we're walking out, there were like a few, just people with bathing suits coming in. So, just be mindful of that. I guess if you go during, weekends and holidays and vacation days, you're going to find it packed with people. And that's definitely not cool. Not many divers, but again, the place is not that big. So strongly recommend. It's a short podcast. I brought it up last time, as an option to cave diving. Again, super cool place to go. Easy. It doesn't require any special skills. Just be careful in the overhead passages that you have. If you don't want to do it, just don't do it. I did it. It was quite fun. But again, if you don't feel comfortable, a little claustrophobic or something like that, don't do it. But with an open water basic certification, you can have quite an amazing experience, close to, a little bit of a cave diving, but not really. So that's a quick one for you guys. Keep that in mind. Cool adventure, simple one. Strongly recommend. Beautiful place. And more to come. I'll try to think of other things like that in the future. Talk to you later. Bye.